There are moments in life when the task ahead feels like a mountain, intimidating and insurmountable. The truth is, success doesn't come to those who wait for the perfect mood, perfect timing, or perfect conditions. It comes to those who show up, rain or shine, ready to get it done. The magic of achievement lies in forcing yourself even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is the bridge between thought and action, and that bridge is what carries you to your goals. Here's the most engaging part of the speech. Imagine this: every morning you're faced with the decision. Stay comfortable or push yourself. It's easy to hit snooze, let the day slip away, and justify later will work better. But the champions, the achievers, they don't wait for motivation, they act. They've mastered the art of doing what needs to be done, even when it's uncomfortable. Because they know something most people don't: discipline beats desire every single time. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about something that has the power to transform your life, not tomorrow, not next week, but starting today. It's the idea of forcing yourself to get it done. Let's face it, motivation is overrated. Motivation is like a spark. It's exciting when it's there, but it doesn't last long. Discipline, on the other hand, is the steady flame that keeps you moving forward. If you wait for motivation to strike, you'll spend more time waiting than working. That's why successful people rely on discipline, not inspiration. Think of discipline as a muscle. Every time you act, even when you don't feel like it, you strengthen that muscle. At first, it's hard. You'll feel resistance. But resistance isn't a stop sign, it's a green light telling you growth is happening. The more you push through, the easier it becomes. And one day, what once felt like a chore will feel like second nature. Let me share a simple strategy. Start small, but start now. Don't aim for perfection, aim for progress. If you need to write a book, don't focus on writing 200 pages. Focus on writing for 20 minutes. If you want to get fit, don't try to run a marathon on day one. Start with a short jog. The trick is to build momentum. Once you start, you'll feel the satisfaction of progress, and that satisfaction fuels the next step. Now let's address excuses. I don't have time, I'm too tired, it's too hard. Sound familiar? Excuses are clever little lies our minds use to keep us comfortable, but comfort is the enemy of progress. When an excuse pops up, recognize it for what it is: a barrier to your success. Remind yourself of why you started and push through. Finally, let's talk about the rewards. When you force yourself to get it done, you're not just completing a task, you're building a reputation with yourself. You're proving that you can trust yourself to follow through. And that trust, it's the foundation of confidence. It's what allows you to set bigger goals and achieve them. So the next time you feel like putting something off, remember this: you don't have to like it, you just have to do it. Success doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about your actions. Force yourself to get it done, and you'll discover that the real magic isn't in the task itself. It's in the person you become in the process. Motivation is often seen as the golden ticket to getting things done. People wait for it, crave it, and rely on it to take action. But here's the truth: motivation is fleeting, unreliable, and often absent when you need it most. It comes and goes like a passing breeze, leaving you stranded when the work is tough or the circumstances are less than ideal. If you tie your progress to feeling motivated, you'll find yourself stuck more often than moving forward. That's why discipline matters so much more. Think about how often you've postponed an important task because you didn't feel like doing it. Maybe you told yourself, I'll start tomorrow, or I'll wait until I'm in the right mood. But how often does that perfect moment really come? More often than not, waiting for motivation becomes a trap, a never-ending cycle of procrastination that keeps you from reaching your potential. Motivation tends to show up after you've started, not before. It's like trying to light a fire. You need a spark to get it going. But it's the wood, the fuel, and the effort to tend to the flame that keep it burning. Action is the fuel for that fire. The simple act of beginning, even when you don't feel like it, can create the momentum you need to keep going. Waiting for motivation is like waiting for lightning to strike. It's unpredictable and rare. Discipline, on the other hand, is always within your control. Discipline isn't about doing what you love all the time. It's about doing what's necessary. It's the ability to override your emotions and make choices based on your commitments rather than your feelings. When you're disciplined, you don't need to be in the mood to work out, make that phone call, or study for the exam. You do it because you've decided that the outcome is worth the effort. Discipline removes the guesswork. It eliminates the need for constant pep talks and replaces them with a quiet, steady resolve. One of the greatest myths about success is that it comes easily to those who are passionate or inspired. In reality, the most successful people are often the ones who master the art of showing up regardless of how they feel. They don't waste time debating whether they're motivated, they act. They understand that progress isn't made in bursts of inspiration, it's made in the trenches of daily effort, often when no one is watching and certainly when they're not in the mood. So the next time you catch yourself waiting for motivation, remember this: it's not a requirement. You don't need to feel like it to start. What you need is the courage to take the first step, the determination to keep going, and the discipline to finish. Once you embrace this mindset, you'll realize that motivation isn't the key to success. It's merely a byproduct of consistent, disciplined action. When people envision success, they often picture a monumental achievement, a gold medal, a published book, or a thriving business. What they rarely consider is the quiet, consistent effort that leads to those triumphs. Success is not built on a single grand act, but on the accumulation of small, deliberate actions taken day after day. This is the power of small, consistent efforts. It is a truth so simple that many overlook it, yet it holds the key to lasting progress in any area of life. Consistency is one of the most underrated forces in the world. It works like compound interest, seemingly insignificant at first, but over time it generates extraordinary results. Picture a drop of water falling onto a stone. One drop won't make a difference, and 10 drops might not either. But after thousands or even millions of drops, the stone wears away. That's the power of repetition and persistence. It's the small efforts repeated consistently that shape the biggest changes. Consider any major accomplishment, and you'll see this principle in action. A marathon runner doesn't wake up one day and run 26.2 miles without preparation. They train for months, gradually increasing their endurance. A best-selling author doesn't write a book in a single sitting. They chip away at it, page by page, sometimes writing only a few hundred words a day. A person who transforms their health doesn't achieve it overnight with one intense workout or one healthy meal. Instead, they commit to regular exercise and balanced nutrition, building habits that sustain their progress over the long term. The beauty of small, consistent efforts is that they're manageable. Grand goals can feel overwhelming, but breaking them into smaller, actionable steps makes them achievable. Instead of focusing on the entire journey, focus on the next step. What can you do today? What small action, if done repeatedly, will move you closer to your goal? These small wins build momentum and confidence. They remind you that progress is possible and keep you motivated to continue. However, consistency requires discipline and patience. This is where many people falter. They start strong but expect immediate results. When those results don't materialize as quickly as they'd like, they become discouraged and give up. But progress isn't always visible right away. Think of a seed planted in the ground. For weeks it may appear as though nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, roots are growing, laying the foundation for the plant to break through and flourish. Your efforts work the same way. Even when you can't see immediate results, trust that your actions are building something meaningful. Small, consistent efforts also create habits, and habits are what sustain long-term success. When you repeatedly perform a task, it becomes ingrained in your routine. Over time, it requires less mental energy to complete, freeing you to focus on new challenges. This is why consistency is so powerful. It not only helps you achieve your goals, but also transforms you into the kind of person who naturally takes the actions needed for success. In life, the small things are the big things. It's the little choices you make every day that shape your future. Whether it's setting aside 10 minutes to read, going for a short walk, or dedicating time to a personal project, these small actions add up. They're the building blocks of greatness. So don't underestimate the power of small, consistent efforts. Embrace them, commit to them, and watch as they lead you to achievements beyond what you ever thought possible. Mental resistance is one of the most significant obstacles to progress, yet it is entirely within your power to overcome. It's the internal voice that whispers doubt, stirs up procrastination, and builds a wall of excuses between you and your goals. Mental resistance thrives on comfort and familiarity. It lures you into staying where you are rather than stepping into the discomfort required for growth. The key to breaking through this resistance lies in understanding its nature and implementing strategies to overpower it. At its core, mental resistance stems from fear of failure, fear of discomfort, and sometimes even fear of success. It's a protective mechanism your mind uses to shield you from perceived threats. Unfortunately, this protective instinct often holds you back from taking risks and making progress. Every time you encounter a task that seems challenging or unpleasant, your brain tries to convince you to avoid it. It tells you do it later, or it's not that important. The problem is, the more you listen to these excuses, the stronger they become. The first step to overcoming resistance is recognizing it. Pay attention to the moments when you feel the urge to procrastinate or when negative thoughts start to take over. Acknowledge them for what they are, fleeting impulses, not facts. Just because your mind says, I don't feel like it, doesn't mean you have to obey. Remember, you are in control of your actions, even if your emotions try to tell you otherwise. Once you recognize resistance, the next step is to act despite it. Action is the antidote to mental resistance. One of the most effective strategies is the 2-minute rule. Commit to working on the task for just 2 minutes. Often the hardest part is starting. Once you begin, momentum takes over, and the task feels less daunting. Even if you stop after 2 minutes, you've still taken a step forward. But more often than not, you'll find yourself continuing because starting dissipates much of the resistance. Breaking tasks into smaller steps is another powerful way to overcome resistance. Mental resistance often grows when a task feels too big or overwhelming. Instead of focusing on the entire project, focus on the next actionable step. For example, if you need to write a report, don't think about the finished product. Start by outlining the main points or writing a single paragraph. Small wins build confidence and make the larger task feel manageable. It's also helpful to create an environment that minimizes distractions and fosters focus. Your surroundings play a significant role in your ability to overcome resistance. If your workspace is cluttered or if you're constantly interrupted, it's easy for excuses to creep in. Organize your environment, eliminate potential distractions, and set clear boundaries to protect your time and focus. Another powerful strategy is to tie the task to a deeper purpose. When you understand the why behind your actions, it becomes easier to push through resistance. Remind yourself of the long-term benefits and the reasons you started in the first place. Whether it's improving your career, achieving a personal goal, or setting an example for others, connecting your actions to a greater purpose can reignite your motivation. Lastly, cultivate self-compassion. Mental resistance often feeds on self-criticism. If you stumble or struggle, don't berate yourself. Instead, acknowledge that overcoming resistance is part of the process and that every small effort counts. Treat yourself with kindness and focus on progress, not perfection. Mental resistance is a challenge, but it's not an insurmountable one. By recognizing it, taking small but consistent actions, and staying connected to your purpose, you can break through the barriers that hold you back. The more you practice overcoming resistance, the stronger your mental resilience becomes, and soon you'll find yourself tackling challenges with confidence and ease. The rewards of persistence are often far greater than the immediate gratification that many people seek. This is one of the most powerful truths about achieving long-term success. When you choose to push through the tough moments, to continue working despite setbacks, and to stay committed even when things get difficult, the outcomes become not just about the task at hand, but about who you become in the process. Persistence builds not just accomplishments, but character, resilience, and an unshakable confidence in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. One of the key rewards of persistence is the growth of self-trust. Each time you follow through on your commitments, even when you don't feel like it, you reinforce your ability to rely on yourself. This builds a deeper sense of self-respect because you've proven time and time again that you are someone who does what they say they will do. This trust in yourself is invaluable. It becomes the foundation on which you can build even bigger goals and take even bigger risks. When you can trust yourself to follow through, you are no longer weighed down by doubts or insecurities. Persistence also teaches you patience, which is another reward often overlooked. In a world where instant gratification is the norm, learning the art of patience is one of the most empowering skills you can develop. Persistence requires that you accept the reality that results don't always come quickly or easily. Success is rarely an overnight phenomenon. It's built slowly with consistent effort and the willingness to keep going even when the immediate rewards are unclear. Over time, you learn that the most significant rewards often take the longest to achieve, and this understanding allows you to operate with a sense of calm determination rather than anxiety. Along with patience, persistence cultivates an incredible amount of mental toughness. When things get hard, when challenges arise, and when you feel like quitting, it's persistence that will carry you through. The more you practice sticking with something despite the discomfort, the stronger your mental resilience becomes. Challenges that once seemed overwhelming start to feel less daunting, and setbacks turn into stepping stones. You become more capable of handling adversity and more willing to take on challenges that you may have once avoided. With persistence, you develop a mindset that believes failure is not the end, it's simply part of the journey. You learn to bounce back quicker and keep moving forward, which is exactly what separates successful people from those who give up too soon. Perhaps one of the most tangible rewards of persistence is the results themselves, the success, the achievements, and the breakthroughs. Success is not a matter of luck, but a result of sustained effort over time. Whether it's in your career, your personal life, or your health, the consistent application of effort toward a goal is what eventually leads to measurable success. Persistence is what gets you past the inevitable plateaus that everyone faces and ensures that you keep going when others might quit. This consistent effort compounds over time, creating a snowball effect where the work you've put in starts to yield substantial results. Additionally, persistence helps you develop a sense of pride and fulfillment. There is a deep satisfaction that comes from knowing you've given your best effort over an extended period. This pride doesn't come from the applause of others or external validation, but from the internal knowledge that you stayed the course. This internal fulfillment is what sustains motivation when external rewards are scarce and when the journey seems long. The satisfaction of sticking with something and seeing it through despite difficulties is one of the greatest rewards persistence can offer. Finally, persistence leads to the creation of lasting habits. Success is not just a series of isolated events, it's the accumulation of positive, productive habits that compound over time. The act of consistently doing something, day in and day out, builds routines that eventually become ingrained in your life. These habits, once established, no longer require as much effort to maintain. The reward of persistence is that it can turn what once felt like a difficult or overwhelming task into something automatic, something you do without thinking. This transformation allows you to continually move forward as you create a life built on the foundation of consistent, persistent actions. In the end, persistence isn't just about achieving your goals, it's about becoming the kind of person who can achieve anything. The rewards of persistence are not just about reaching the destination, but about the growth, resilience, and confidence you gain along the way. So keep going. The challenges you face today are laying the groundwork for the person you'll become tomorrow. The rewards of your persistence are waiting for you, and they will be worth every step you take to get there. In conclusion, forcing yourself to act isn't just about achieving a specific goal, it's about adopting a way of life that guarantees progress no matter the circumstances. Every time you push through resistance, you're planting seeds of growth. Those seeds, watered with consistency, bloom into achievements that others call extraordinary.